Yo YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy SalvationsElite. We are back with another video, guys, and today, man, like I said yesterday, we're talking about OpTic Gaming because, as you probably know, they got absolutely obliterated at Miami, and they are going to have some major problems to fix these next few weeks before champs if they want to have a chance to be competitive at all at the event. So first, we're gonna be deep diving into the stats, but like we all know, stats aren't everything. So we're gonna be also diving into some film. I went back and watched both matches they played at Miami, and I wanted to kind of address some of the issues that they were having in some of those matches, because it's like it was ugly as a whole, and just they were basically completely outclassed in both matches versus, you know, LG and 100 Thieves. So I want to talk about all that today, and then we can theorize about maybe some of the potential outcomes that this could have leading into champs and afterwards as well. So as you guys are seeing here, these are the OpTic Gaming's player stats from CWL Miami, and they were not pretty. As you guys can see, adjusted KDs, Scump had a 0.98, Dashy 1, Karma 0.6, Crim 0.6, TJ 0.62, and so, I mean, not pretty. Not pretty at all. Again, they did only play 6 maps. Like the sample size isn't like massive, but this gives a pretty good look into how badly they got obliterated. I mean, they were outslayed at every corner, basically in every single map. So as we sift through these are the respawn stats for OpTic. This is obviously just hardpoint and controls. And you guys see this: Dashy 1.1, Scump 0.75, Karma 0.75, Crim 0.71, TJ 0.72. And you guys are seeing their ratings here on the left. That's CodStat.gg's like rating system that they give. It's basically a summary of all of their stats into like a stat, and it's trying to quantify basically all the stats from the weekend into one rating. So obviously the higher the rating, the better. And TJ had the second lowest rating at the event, and everyone else only had either 1 or 2 maps, and TJ had 4. So he had a rough event overall. He was playing really poorly. A lot of that bad rating is contributed to his team death percentage. He had 24.25% of OpTic's deaths throughout the event, in respawn at least, and I mean, that is really bad. Obviously, you want to have around 20% because that's 1/5 of 100, and there's 5 players. So you want to have around 20, and TJ was at 24.25, which again, was the highest out of any player at the event. So that is not good. Here's the look at the S&D real quick. I mean, it's only 2 maps, so you can't really quantify the stats that much. You can't put too much weight in the stats. You have to look more at how they actually played. But again, the stats aren't pretty. I mean, Scump had a decent search and destroy performance, you know, both these in both the maps. Scump obviously did fairly well. He had a 1.46 KD, really nice for only 2 maps. I mean, TJ 0.4, Dashy 0.77, Karma 0.31, Crim 0.36. I mean, obviously the rest of OpTic really struggled in search and did not play well. The biggest thing to look at over here is the first blood percentages. I mean, they barely got any first bloods in either of the maps. So that's how you lose search, is not getting first bloods, and they were not getting first bloods. Before we hop into the film session, or the film section of this video, I just wanted to compare these stats to like their Pro League stats for the most part. Obviously this is a massive sample size in comparison. This is 91 maps for 4 of them. Dashy obviously missed like the first leg, so he only had 62 maps played. Dashy had a 1.22 KD, Crim had a 1.07, Karma had a 1.03, TJ 0.98, Scump 0.97. So like, that's not bad at all overall for all of them. And of course, Crim, Karma, TJ, and Scump had to play without Dashy for the first, you know, handful of matches. So obviously that's going to lower their performance as well. So they all played fairly well. Obviously they were very successful as a team in the Pro League, and those stats obviously show a pretty massive difference in comparison to what they played at Miami. So I just want to talk about some of their gameplay specifically now. So in their first match against LG, which was in the winners round 1, LG was coming from the qualifying bracket, so LG did come in with a little bit of hotness. You know, they came in after playing, what, 4 games the day before, and then playing OpTic on this first day, so, you know, they came in a little bit warmer more than likely than OpTic did. But the ironic thing is that OpTic started off that first hardpoint on fire. Literally, they're up like 80, like they had like an 80-point lead. It was like 85 to 5 or something insane. I don't remember the exact score, but they were up by like, but they were up massive at the beginning, and then they absolutely blew it. Like the wheels completely fell off. So like basically FOMO got streaks like around like, you know, when it was 80 to like maybe 30 or 40, somewhere in there early on in the game. And then after that, it was just like a spiral of just death and destruction for OpTic in that hardpoint, and they could not get back on board. That first hardpoint was ugly. And overall, just horrible team play from all of them. I mean, Crim went 8-22 in the hard point. TJ went 12-27 in the hard point. And I mean, as a team, what I noticed throughout that whole hard point was they just were so impatient. And this was a theme throughout this whole tournament. We're going to talk about a lot about patience and playing together as a squad. And like, they were just really bad. And what's so surprising about the performance, like this whole performance from OpTic, was how they were hyping up their play after the pre-land. Because they pre-land with FaZe, with Gen G, and with E United, the 3 teams who finished the top 3 in the tournament. And OpTic was saying they played great. They felt really good about it. They were coming into Miami with a lot of confidence. And then they come out and play like this? What? How? You know, like, I was mind blown. I mean, again, I wasn't able to watch those games live because I was working the open bracket. So I went back and I looked. I'm like, OpTic got destroyed by LG. What? And then they get destroyed by 100 Thieves. Like, what in the world? So like, then in the search and destroy, it just felt like their internal timers, you know, like the timing that they're trying to work through in search was just off. They were literally caught all alone multiple times, and literally like the whole game, it felt like LG was on their flank. Like, Brack hit their flank a handful of times. A few other guys did too as well. And so it's like, they just didn't have a feel for the map at all. It just was really weird and didn't feel right at all for OpTic. Like, you'd expect way more from Karma, Crim, TJ, Scump, Dashy. Like, you expect so much more from those guys, their caliber of talent, their players. It just was like the most sloppy search I've seen in a long time from OpTic. They were literally just solo pushing things. And like, this was the same thing in the 100 Thieves search we're going to talk about in a second. Like, it was just so messy and unorganized. It was on Hacienda, and they ended up playing Hacienda again against 100 Thieves. And like, I don't know how that ended up happening, but they really should not have played it against 100 Thieves, considering how bad it went against LG. But yeah, wow, it was ugly. And once again in control, this time Crim was playing great. Like, Crim in the match had a 12 kill streak, and he was doing really well, frying as a whole with the ICR. But it just felt like at A, OpTic was really lost in the A zone. This was gridlock, A zone control. It just felt they were really lost inside the showers over there. And again, it just comes down to them playing as a squad, baiting and trading kills. Like, that should be simple stuff for pros, but it just didn't feel fluent whatsoever for OpTic throughout the whole weekend, both matches. One of the rounds in that control, OpTic was up 9 lives right off the rip. They took B zone up 9 lives, and they lost the round because they could not take showers. They were struggling so badly to bait and trade inside of showers and try to even break that hold from LG. Like, they could not get in. They kind of rallied a bit after that because Crim was playing so well, but my goodness, man, like, that is not what OpTic would normally be doing. That's not how OpTic would have been in the past. That's not how OpTic would have been at the beginning of this year. The difference is, which we're going to talk about probably more, is like, at the beginning of the year, OpTic won Vegas. And so like, every single year, at the beginning of the year, there's 2 ways that generally teams excel. Last year we saw TK. They figured out the strats for search way before any other team did. They were just better at search than everyone else because of the timing, the smoke, the concussion usage in World War II. And they really figured that out quickly compared to every other team. So that gave them a huge advantage at the beginning of the year. But then by the end of the year, people caught up with TK. And so the more talented teams finally figured it out, like Rise, started figuring out TK, and they started just dominating, you know? And so the other way to dominate at the beginning of the year is just have the most raw talent. And that's kind of what OpTic did at the beginning of the year. I mean, to have Dashy absolutely frying like that, and then to have the whole squad still behind him, I mean, obviously they were incredibly talented, and that's what they were relying the most on at the beginning of the year. Then teams like 100 Thieves, Gen G, really started catching up and figuring out how to play as a squad in Black Ops 4 is incredibly different. Like, it's surprisingly different compared to other Call of Duties. The 5-player aspect with the fast-paced movement that Black Ops 4 has requires really good teamwork, and that's what Gen G is so good with. And so, I mean, like I said yesterday's video, I want to do a learn from the pros about Gen G because their teamwork is so nice. That's why they've been so surprisingly successful with their less quote-unquote talented players. And then that is something that OpTic has just been so bad at, especially in tournaments. Who knows how they were practicing, but at least in tournaments, from what we've seen, they just do not know how to play together. So like in that first map against 100 Thieves, like basically OpTic played pretty well for most of that map. They were winning their gunfights, they were playing well as a squad, but then by the end of the game, it felt like when things started getting a little bit tighter, they got impatient, and then they started not trading kills as well, being less efficient with their timing and their positioning, and like things got loose when the pressure really kicked in. which is so surprising for a team like OpTic, considering they're full of veterans. They have three of the best, most legendary veterans in the game. Like, that shouldn't happen with a team like them. For some reason, it's really, really tough for Crim, Karma, and Scump to figure out how to play as a team in Black Ops 4 versus what past Call of Duties and how that used to be. Then in a Search and Destroy versus 100 Thieves, again, it was just felt so unorganized. All right, so like, let's look at what happened here in round 4. So look at this push from OpTic. It doesn't really make any sense. They split up, they all go solo, and they one by one basically dive in towards the 100 Thieves players. Like, what are you doing? I mean, they're all pushing up on different sides. They're just challenging in really dumb times, not being patient, not waiting for their team, and it just seemed like incredibly lackluster amateur style Search and Destroy. Like, that's not how pros should be playing Search. As you guys can see, like 100 Thieves, they're moving through the map together as a team. One's watching flank, one's pushing forward, one's waiting on that trade for that first person, one's waiting on the trade for the back person. You got the guy in the middle. They're all running through the map together. They're playing really well as a squad. Like, that's what should be happening here, and OpTic just isn't doing it. So like, literally in the next round, let's just watch this attempted bomb retake from OpTic. It's just not pretty.
By connected, Dashy's been spotted by Priester. Players developing now the back end of the... Ooh, the nade comes through. Priest is good. Priest is good. He's a little worried. And Slasher with a magnificent entry kill there on a Dashy. 5v4. Bomb's going to be going down at A.
Brilliant evasion there by Priest. The blackjack does save his life. Slasher, he's going to find a second lone wolf in it here. Don't find a third, surely not. Look at that awareness. He notices there's more than one. He is out of there. He's thinking, I'm in a 5v3. We're about to get the bomb down. I ain't challenging you top hallway. He regroups with his team, and this should be a nice clinical round here for 100 Thieves. That's going to be number 3 that falls. And honestly, that's 8 deaths in a row for OpTic Gaming, as 100 Thieves still have every single person intact. Scump change that. He's been on fire so far. The shot punch not going to connect, but all he needs is the Sorg, and suddenly the 5v2 down to a 2v2.
Scump's timing could have been better. OpTic seemed to push solo there. Again, another push from TJ alone.
So yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like, what are they doing there? Why are they pushing one at a time? Why aren't they setting up together? It doesn't seem like they're communicating well and not pushing together as a team towards the bombs. They're pushing one by one, not in sync, not synchronized, not capitalizing on the position they could have. Like, it just, so many problems there that seemed like OpTic was having. And like, one more example here is like, look at this round in round 7. Like, what is this? It's really bad again. It just doesn't make any sense. So like, let's just watch this clip again right here.
Plays, but there's a real disconnect from the majority of the OpTic squad at this point. See how they go. I think that may have been a land on there with the nade, but wow, 3 perfect kills from 100 Thieves. Crim. This is the 3rd round in a row where 100 Thieves have absolutely dismantled OpTic.
It's just so weird. It just feels like they're always trying to split off, do their own thing, not trading well as a team. Like, so many rookie mistakes from a team that should not be making rookie mistakes. I mean, obviously, again, this is kind of a longer video, but OpTic has so much to work through these next few weeks, and I can't imagine how frustrated they have to be with how this ended up going down. I don't know what it was, like, specifically when it came to like why this would happen like this, like why they were playing so inconsistent and unorganized and poorly in general, considering how well they were talking about themselves before the tournament because of the pre-land. Overall, guys, OpTic is in trouble. They definitely have a lot of problems. They have a lot to work through. I'll be surprised. I'll be really surprised if they end up putting a great performance out at champs at this point, considering how poorly they've played these last few weeks, basically since the beginning of July. And it's not looking good for the OpTic fans, for the Green Wall, when it comes to their performances, man. So hopefully they can turn it around. They can start really playing well again. But I'm not going to bank on it based off of how poorly they've been playing lately. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown. If you guys did, like, comment, and subscribe. Share it if you guys really enjoy it. I really do appreciate it. 10,000 subscribers, like I said before, but this is awesome. I'm so hyped that you guys are all here with me, and I'm excited that we could be going through all of this together. So again, if you guys enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe, do all that stuff. But as always, guys, I'm your boy SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.